Our topic of presentation is class, objects, abstraction, and encapsulation. We are going to see in detail about class, objects, abstraction, and encapsulation. So what is a class? A class is a user-defined data type defining using the keyword class. The best example I can say is we can say a car is a class. For example, we all know about car. So if I define a car as a class, what are all the things in the class in the car? We can say the color, type of the car, or the weight of the car, the size of the car. So they are all called the members or member functions we say. Here the car is the class. So the other attributes can be accessed like from the car we can talk about the color, size, type of cars, that and all we can accessed by using a instance of that class. So we can say the variables inside the class definition are called data members and functions are called member functions. So here is an example. We can say that a room, you consider a room as a class. So the class is defined as the room. The name is room. So what are all the things we can do with a room? We know about it can be defined by length, breadth, height. So we can, with the help of those things, we can calculate the area and volume. So for example, we can say a box. You assume a box. A box can be defined with the help of length, breadth, and height. So they are all called member functions, and the box is the class. So we can say that class is just a blueprint which declares and defines characteristics and behavior, namely data members and member functions respectively. So yeah, blueprint means a car will give you a picture of an outline how a car will look like. But what are all the attributes if I say it is a red color car? If I say it is a type of car is a Figo. So they are all called what? Member functions or data members. Okay. So next we can say that this is a structure of the class and how it is defined. So here the keyword class represents class name. Keyword is the class and class name is the class. And what are all the things? These are all the body. So what is the things in the body? It can be some private members and public members. What are all the private members? So width and length is can be called as private. Public means so I can calculate the area using the uh, function called as set. I'm using a function called set. So this is the member function. So after that I can calculate the area by accessing these values inside the private. So we can specify the members of a class as private. Also, we can define the members as public also from outside the class. Okay. What are all the data members? It can be static, it can be non-static. So static means it can be defined as a with the keyword static, the data type, and the data member name. So static is the keyword, data type can be int or float, data member can be user defined, that is name we can keep anything. The static data member is always initialized to 0 when the first class object is created. For example, here is a data member. Static is the keyword. Data member is the name of the data member we have kept. So here the data member class is the rectangle. What are all the variables created here as a private width and length? Again, static. Another variable we have declared count in count. Here count is the static variable that is initialized to 0 initially. And what are all the things we are calculating? We are having a function. We are calculating the area for rectangle 1, rectangle 2, and rectangle 3. So here the count is the static variable and R1, R2, R3 will be varying each and every time. Okay. So what are all the member functions? They are used to access the values of the data members and also they are used to perform operations on the data members. They are all declared inside the body. It can access both public and private members of the class. So here is the structure for the member function. So we can see all the things member function, what are all the things inside the class we have defined, what are all the variables and what are all the class name we have given outside the um, uh, outside the class we have created a class called void rectangle. Here is the function name, and what is this parameter double colon? It is called as scope resolution parameter. When I want to access the values or variables inside a particular class, I can access it using with the help of a scope resolution operator outside the function. Here width is equal to W, length is equal to L is been defined. So this is the operator which is used to access the variables outside the class. So here is the main function. So rectangle R2. So object declaration inside the function. R1 is set to 5, 8. What is this set? Set is the function name. R1 is the rectangle. R1 is here the class object creation. We are creating an object R1 dot set of 5, 8. I am passing the values W to be 5 and L length to be 8. So x is equal to R1 dot area of. Now what I am doing? Calculating the area. Area is defined inside this class area of. How it will find the value? By multiplying the width and length. That value will be returned here and that will be displayed here for the R1. Similarly for R2, how I am calculating the value? Same way, object creation and then dot area of x value in R2. So like this we are calculating the value and accessing the values inside the class and outside the class. And what is an object? Object is uh, consisting of both operations and data. So set of methods, they are called member functions. And what is the data? Internal state. Values of private data members. So object are instances of class which holds the data variables declared in the class, and member functions work on these class objects. So it is the syntax can be class name and object name. By that we are creating the writing the syntax. Always they are initialized using a function called constructors. Whenever a constructor is created, the variable will allocate a memory, and the memory is deallocated by using a destructor. So here the member functions example we saw already. Box. The parameters are length, breadth and height. Then volume is calculated. Get volume is the name of the uh, function. Okay, so here member functions can be defined within the class definition or separately using the scope resolution operator. So here double box scope resolution operator get volume, and then it will return the value to the volume. Box, my box, just the any name we can give our own name. Create an object, my box dot get volume. So the object is now created called member. Here the get volume is the member function. So my box object dot member function for the corresponding object. So here is a declaration of object is an explained with the help of this example. So yeah, class is defined with the name rectangle. The parameters define private or width and length, and public set is the function to calculate the area. So in the main function, I am calculating the area for two objects I am creating here, class name and object name R1. Class name rectangle, object name R2. So I can create any number of objects for a particular class. So here R1 dot set of, what is the set function of 5, 8? I am passing the value and printing the area R1 and R2. Here end line is the it will print in the next line, new line. So declaration object, here we say that R1 is statically allocated, and here R1 width and length, then R1 dot set of 5, 8. Here is the declaration for R2. So R2 is a pointer to a rectangle object. So it is in the memory location 5000. It will allocate a memory for R1. Width and length will be stored as 5 and 8. So R2 is a pointer to a rectangle object. So what will be coming in here in the memory location 6000? So R2 is equal to, it will point the value which is the address of the R1 will be stored in the R2. Okay, so again in R1 is stored in the memory location 5000. So like a pointer variable, it will act and then it will save the memory. So R2, R1, we have seen it here clearly. Now the values will be now 8 and 10. It is not 5 and 8. The value will be now 8 and 10. And the dot notation and arrow notation, we can say it is referring to the pointer value. Here it is notating the calling the function and with the help of the object name. Okay, next object initialization. For example, in this example, we say a class as a circle, public, and then we are defining a radius. So here we declare an instance of the class circle as C1. So C1 dot radius is equal to 5. I'm assigning the value as C1 dot radius equal to 5. C1 is our object here. So by assignment, we say this is one type of object initialization. The next type we will see in the next slide. The only work for public data members, no control over the operations on data members. So the next type is by public member functions. So how it is defined? Private is double radius. Public is we are defining an radius r, and then we are returning the value in the get r. So what happens here in the main function? So circle C, an object of a circle class, C dot set of 5.0. So I am assigning the value here itself. So here the radius of the circle will be calculated in the using the get r function, that will return the value here, and again the answer will be displayed here. So here the example is access a private data member with an accessor. Next, the topic will be abstraction and encapsulation. What is that? The word indicates abstraction, which shows only the essential information and hiding the more detail. So normally we say for any research paper abstract. What is the abstract? Abstract will show you the essential information of all the full information about a research paper. So by reading the abstract, we will able to get the essential information but not the detailed information. Same way, here abstraction refers to the only the essential information and hiding the background details or implementation. So the in C++, abstraction is implemented by using a class, a template, or a function. So there are two types of abstraction: data abstraction and control abstraction. How do we implement abstraction? It can be implemented using classes. The class helps to group data members and member functions using available access specifiers. So what is that? We can use it. For example, a math.h is a header file, but inside that we will use a power of function, power of it in present in the math.h header file, and pass the members as arguments without knowing the underlying algorithm according to which the function is actually calculating. So we are not worried about how the algorithm will calculate about the power, but we know that power of function will is inside the header file. So here is an example. We say that here is an example. We say that example for a using a class adder. It is written to calculate the add three numbers. So it interface to the outside world, and hidden data from outside world is the total. So hence we calculate in the main function adder a. A is the object name. Adder is the class name. A dot add num is the function name. So we calculate the total using this. And then advantages is shown here. It avoids code duplication and increases the reusability. It reduces the complexity. It increases the security of an application. It hides the sensitive data from the users. Encapsulation. What is meant by encapsulation? It is used to read the or modify the value of a private member. We provide public get and set methods. Here is an example which shows how to use get and set. So the salary of any employee can be kept as a private attribute, and how we are getting that value using the set function and get function. Salary attribute is private, it has restricted access. Public set salary method takes the parameter and assign to the salary attribute. Public get salary method returns the value of the private salary attribute. Inside the main, we create an object of the employee class. Now we can use the set salary method to set the value of the private attribute to 50,000. Then we call the get salary method on the object to return the value.